So basically in the peer review assignment, you are supposed to give feedback to one of your classmates controversy analysis paper. The format would be that you will be submitting to me as well as sharing with your classmate typed answers on a peer review checklist. I will share the checklist with you. So basically you will be working with your peer on the draft of the controversy analysis paper that she or he wrote. And your goal is that you will be helping your peer to improve the content and organization of the essay. Additionally, you will be suggesting how she or he can bring more clarity in their writing. These are the steps. The first step is that you would read your peer's paper, of course. That is the primary thing. And then you will be giving feedback through the worksheet I will provide to you. Also, you will comment on the paper of your classmate. You will comment in terms of what improvements are needed in the paper. Secondly, you will be focusing on things like content and organization mainly before you worry about editing, because editing is something your classmate can, you all can take care of yourself. But for content and organization, we always need a peer to review our work. So when you review content and organization, you should make sure that you as a reader of your classmates' controversy analysis paper, you can identify the key players in that paper, the arguments in that paper, the terminology of the controversy or the vocabulary of that controversy. Also, make sure that you are able to identify the relevant history of that controversy, and you can also clearly see what is the present condition of that controversy. And finally, you can see that ideas flow in a very smooth manner from beginning till the end of the paper. So this is all about content and organization basically. The third step, you should highlight 2 to 3 things which are really good in the paper and 2 to 3 things which need improvement. So make sure you offer actual suggestions for revision. Do not just write needs improvement. There are 2 cautions when you give or receive the feedback. 1, be very courteous and fair and honest in your feedback. 2, when you read the feedback given by your classmate, accept that very graciously and politely. You don't have to be defensive, because even the best writers in the world, they do get peer review and peer feedback. That is how we grow as writers. Students, any question about what I have discussed so far? Okay, so I'm proceeding now to the peer critique or peer review worksheet. When you read the controversy analysis paper written by your classmate, you will give feedback on this peer critique worksheet. You will have its soft copy with you, a Word copy with you. So you will be typing your own name of the partner whose work you are reviewing, and then respond to these questions in light of the controversy analysis paper that you read. The first question would be, Is there an attention getter? Is it successful? You have to respond to this question right under the question. So this is a word copy. You will have access to it. So you can write, you can type under it yes or no, whatever is the right answer. Similarly, for the second question, does it have a clear one sentence thesis introducing the purpose of this paper? If so, what is it? So what is the thesis in that paper? If there is one, right? So once again, you need to type the thesis over here from the paper that your classmate wrote. And then the next question, does it have a clear preview that shows readers the organization of their paper? If so, what is it? Right? So type the preview statement over here from the paper of your classmate. Now, once you are done with the introduction part of your classmate's paper, then you will move on to the body of the paper. So in the body of the paper, again, you would look at the arguments. Are they clear and arranged in an effective manner? Do you have any suggestions for improvement? If yes, type them over here. Are there clear transitions between points? If not, point out where your partner needs to add in transitions. So when we move from a paragraph to another paragraph, we need to have proper smooth transitions. So make sure you find them in your classmate's paper. If there is none, there are none, you should suggest the transitions over here under this. So you can type over here your response. Does each paragraph have a clear topic sentence? Yes or no? Type it over here. How effective is the organization, main points in logical order and in development of thesis? If not, how would you suggest improvement? Do you feel informed about the history of your peers' controversy? Is there any other information the audience would need to understand the controversy better? Do you understand the status quo of your peers' controversy? If so, what is the current status quo? Summarize it for your peer. Who are the key players in the controversy? Name the players. Does the author eloquently define key terms for the reader? Are there any places where you can suggest improvement? If yes, describe them over here. Finally, you are at the conclusion of the controversy analysis paper written by your classmate. Does the conclusion recap the thesis and main points? Does the conclusion have a summarizing statement or a so what answer? Now, general questions about research that your classmate has carried out to write that controversy analysis paper. What types of sources has the author already consulted and included? Right? So you will have your own answer. You might say authentic, you might say inauthentic, you might say reliable, you might say very you might say a little doubtful, whatever your response is. Do you have recommendations for types of sources, information, and evidence you would like to see? If yes, write your recommendation over here. And finally, about the style. Does the author means your classmate, does the author use unbiased neutral language throughout the essay? Use the reporter's voice, neutral tone. Are there places the author could be more objective? Does the author add in his or her own opinion? This is important because we know for controversy analysis paper, you cannot include your own opinion, right? You're reporting the history and status quo of a controversy. So no opinion from your own side for this paper. So you have to take care of that when you read the paper, controversy analysis paper written by your classmate. Are the sentences concise and easy to follow? Does the essay flow logically in easy to flow manner? Is the paper free of grammatical, spelling, typographical errors? Mark errors on the essay and return it to your peer. Any questions so far, students?
Yes, sir.
What is the question?
So the question is that how are we going to write it? Like in a paragraph, we are going to answer all these questions, or we have to make the points and then tell first is this, second is this.
Okay, right. Okay. So the answer to your question is you will have this sheet with you. Okay. So the questions are already typed. You will be typing your answer under it in whatever way you like. You can have points, you can have a paragraph. That is your own choice. But the only thing that I want to tell you is this, that your when you write your response over here, use a different color. I prefer the red one. Okay. So this is how you choose a font, right? And you write the whole response in red color. Similarly, when you move on to the second question, once again, choose the red font color and write your response in red color. So that is what you have to make sure, that all the responses that you write, they should be in red color. But then it is your own choice. You want paragraphs. At places, your response would be maybe just a few words, right? But then at other places, you might require 2 to 3 points. Over there, you can choose to write in pointed form or in paragraph form. That is totally your own choice, right? Additionally, I also want to, uh, explain this point a little bit more, which is the paper free of grammatical, spelling, typographical errors? Make errors, mark errors on the essay and return it to your peer. Now, because it is relevant to your question kind of, definitely, solicits response on that question, on this thing as well, which is, as far as the worksheet goes and the questions in the worksheet go, you will be responding to these questions on the same sheet. Of course, once you have written the responses, probably this sheet will extend to 2 to 3 pages, right? That is absolutely fine. But as far as pointing out the errors on the paper, on your classmate's paper is concerned, you have to do that, right? You have to point out the grammatical format errors on the paper, because recording the error on a separate page will be confusing for everybody, right? So for example, while reading the paper, you identified that in your classmate's paper, you came across the word over here, transitions, right? And you want a different word over here. You want to suggest that instead of the word transitions, probably the author should use the word changes. Okay. Now you have to mark this mistake on the paper, right? And for that, this is what I'm suggesting to you. You should use review track on option. Okay, I just did it in front of you, so it's not complicated. So once you, after review, you click track and you turn on the track changes. Now, whatever change you will make, whatever correction you will make over here will be visible to your reader, which is your classmate and your instructor, which is myself, right? So you can remove the word transition because you want to use the word, you want to suggest the word changes over here. So you type word changes and you remove the word transition. So the document will keep showing that the word transition has been removed and the word changes has been inserted by you. So your reader will know that you have suggested a different word at the place of the word transition. That way you have marked the correction. Okay, so wherever you feel that a word needs to be changed, you should change it by reviewing, turning on review, and then turning on tracking option. All right, so you might, for example, see this word response and you want to suggest just remove this word. Okay, so you removed it, right? So your reader will be able to see later on, that is the original author of that paper will be able to see later on that the word response was deleted by you. Okay, your name will also show like that. Similarly, you want to suggest that this word is redundant, should remove it, so you can remove like this. All right, now there is another side of it, that is you just want to make a comment, there is nothing to change, there is nothing that you can change, but you want to make a comment, right? For example, you come across a sentence which is too long. Well, you cannot actually, break the sentence into 2 or 3 sentences, but you do want to make comment on that. In that case, you should select, you again, you should keep review option on, you should keep tracking on. Okay, and you are on the paper right now, the paper written by your classmate, not the worksheet, the paper, right? So in that paper, highlight all that part on which you want to comment and then press new comment option and then write your comment over here. You might like to write too long sentence, shorten. Okay, so this comment will stay when you close the file, it will stay here and your reader will be able to read it when she or he opens the file later on. All right, so these are two sides of it. So the feedback that you provide to your classmate, that will be at two places. The first place, or the one place, is the peer critique worksheet, and the feedback in that will be your responses to the questions which are already written over here. And the feedback that you write on this sheet, you should write it in red color. This is the first place for the feedback. The second place for the feedback is the paper itself. The paper, on the paper itself, mainly you should take care of these things. Look at the grammar, look at the spelling, look at any typos, or you can also look at the format, right? In fact, I should add it over here. Is the format correct? Okay, you can look at that as well. Paragraphs are properly arranged, the heading is at the proper place, things of that kind. And you can comment on any wrong formatting or wrong grammar, wrong spelling, wrong typo. You can either comment on that or you can make correction yourself if it is just a minor thing to correct, just a word to replace. In that case, you can make correction. But if there is a bigger thing, then don't spend too much time on just making correction in that. Rather, you can make a comment in that case. So once you do these two things, your feedback on the paper is complete.